Hello and welcome to Kathleen's Top 10. My first top 10 list is animals. Number one has to be the horse. The horse is my favorite animal. I have loved horses since I was a little girl. Most little girls love horses. They are amazing creatures. They're actually much more intelligent than people think. They're also extremely beautiful and they're a lot of fun to be around. They're a lot of fun to ride and to just spend time with. I've had a couple of horses in my life and those have been the happiest times in my life. The times when I've been riding horses and spending most of my time with them. They're fabulous animals. My second favorite animal is the dog, which is sometimes referred to as man's best friend. But I think dogs are also women's best friend, people's best friend. They're amazing creatures, they're wonderful companion animals, they're so generous in their spirit, and they are wonderful to spend time with. They're a lot of fun. My third favorite animal is the pig. Now I don't like eating pigs, but I love the intelligence of pigs, and I think pigs are really cute. There's nothing cuter than a baby pig, a little piglet. They're so pink, and they smell good, and they're very sweet, and they're just marvelous creatures. The fourth animal is also extremely intelligent, and that's the elephant. Did you know that elephants are the only animal that cannot jump? This is probably due to their enormous size, but they're extremely intelligent, wise, and fascinating animals. Number 5 is probably a surprise to you, but it's the squirrel. I love squirrels, which are called ardillas in Spanish. My dogs loved to chase squirrels when I was a little kid, and so I enjoyed watching squirrels, and I enjoyed watching them tease my dogs. They would run halfway up the tree and sort of teased the animals, the dogs that were chasing them. And I appreciated that in squirrels. I thought, well, that's a clever little rodent to be teasing a dog. And they're also really cute and they're industrious. They save their acorns all summer long for the winter months. Number 6 is also a surprise, but it's one of my favorite rodents. It's a guinea pig. And when I was a little kid, I had guinea pigs. I had two. One was named Ginger and the other was named Gigi. And every morning I used to feed them lettuce. So I'd open up the refrigerator door and get out a big head of lettuce, break off little pieces. And when they would hear the sound of the lettuce being prepared, they would start squealing with delight. They were great fun to have. Number 7 is the goat. I think goats are interesting animals. They have elliptical eyes that make them look a little bit like the devil. And they're also pretty stubborn and rather mischievous. I like goat cheese as well. Now, I've never eaten goat meat, but I love goat cheese. The only thing I don't like about goats is that goats don't smell very good. If you've ever been around goats, you know that they have a pretty strong body odor. Number 8 is a rather prehistoric looking animal, a rhinoceros. I have never seen a rhinoceros in the wild, only in zoos, but I think they're really interesting looking animals. They're so prehistoric looking. And is there anything cuter than a baby rhinoceros? That they have to be one of the cutest baby animals in the animal kingdom. I love rhinoceros, rhinoceri. I think that's plural for rhinoceros. Number 9, and second to last, is the bear. I love bears. Bears are enormous animals. If you've ever seen them in the wild, they're much larger than you expect. And they are extremely fast. Most people don't know how fast bears are. Even though they weigh close to 1,000 pounds, they can cover a lot of ground. They can run very, very fast. And last on the list is an American animal known, I think it's native to the United States, and that is the buffalo, the American buffalo. When I was a little kid, the buffalo was almost extinct. There were only a few thousand buffalo left. And in the last 20 or 30 years, they've been able to revive the numbers of the buffalo herds to the point where they even eat them now. They raise buffalo as a food source, and buffalo meat is delicious as long as you don't cook it too long. It becomes kind of tough if you cook it too long. But they're actually very intelligent creatures. They're much more intelligent than cows, and they too, like the bear, are also very fast on their feet. So, those are my top 10 favorite animals. Hello and welcome to Kathleen's Top 10. I'm Kathleen. These are my top 10 favorite body parts. They're my body parts, not my top 10 favorite body parts of other people. My first favorite body part is my hair. I think I have pretty good hair. It's sort of thick, it's not too thick, and I've never had to color it. I liked the color of my hair when I was a kid, so I never changed the color. The only thing that I'd like to change now is perhaps some of the gray hairs that are growing out of the top of my head. My second favorite body part are my legs. I have pretty good legs. I have a nicely shaped leg, but I also have good legs because I've spent a lot of my time exercising. I spent many, many years backpacking, running, swimming, hiking, riding horses, and as a result, I have pretty muscular legs, and they're not very fat. They don't have a lot of cellulite on them. My third favorite body part is not really my favorite body part. It's the body part that other people say they like, and those are my eyes. Why? I don't know. I don't think my eyes are particularly beautiful, but I do suppose I have a nice color of eye. I have kind of greenish brownish eyes with little yellow polka dots in them. So maybe they're unusual looking. My fourth favorite body part is not natural. They are my teeth. I've spent a lot of money improving my teeth. They're not the teeth that I was born with. I like these teeth better than the teeth I was born with. And they have cost me a little bit of money. So of course, they're going to be one of my favorite body parts. Number 5 would have to be my ears. I like my ears. One of my friends says that my ears are too big. He thinks that they're too long, but I like them. I think that they are the right shape. The only thing that I am happy about is that they don't stick out, which is good. They are sort of close to my head, so I like my ears. Number 6 would probably be my eyebrows. When I was 13 years old, one of my friends taught me how to pluck my eyebrows, to remove the excess hair from them. And so as a result, I've always followed her instructions about not making them too thin or not letting them get to be too thick. So I think I have pretty good eyebrows. I don't know. What do you think? Number 7 would be cheekbones. I have pretty high cheekbones, and I think that's because I'm Irish. My family's ancestry is Irish. Native American people also have high cheekbones, and some people sometimes ask me if I'm Native American. I'm certainly not. But I like having high cheekbones. It gives you somewhere to put makeup on. And it also gives you a little bit more exotic look. Number 8, I suppose, would be my shoulders. I have broad shoulders, not narrow shoulders. I have wide shoulders, and that makes it easier to find clothes that fit. I think the benefit to having broad shoulders is mainly in terms of wearing clothing. If you have broad shoulders, your clothes tend to hang on your body a little bit better. Number 9, in terms of my favorite body parts, is my least attractive body part, but it's the one that I value the most, and those are my fingers. I have really unattractive hands. I've always considered this to be my least attractive feature, but it's my favorite body part because I love to play the piano and I love to use my hands, and I don't know where I would be without my 10 fingers. I think that would make life much more difficult. So even though my hands are unattractive, at least they're strong and they work really well. So I consider them one of my favorite body parts. My last favorite body part is a bit unusual, and that is the ankle, the part above your foot before your leg starts. And the thing that I like about my ankles is that they're not too thick. I have seen other women with ankles that are a bit thicker, and I have never thought that was very attractive, so I've always felt fortunate to have nice, slender ankles. It's not really that great of an asset, but did you know that about 100 years ago, ankles were considered to be a very erotic or erogenous zone on women, and when women would show their ankles, that was considered to be a little bit obscene. Isn't that strange? So, those are my top 10 favorite body parts. Hello and welcome to Kathleen's Top 10. Now for my top 10 favorite foods. My most favorite food in the world, certainly number one on the list, is sushi. Japanese sushi. Sushi roll, sashimi, anything to do with sushi, wasabi, and soy sauce has to be one of my most favorite things to eat in the world. When I lived in San Francisco, I ate sushi almost every day because sushi is really inexpensive there. There are lots of Japanese people, immigrants, who live in San Francisco, and you can find a sushi shop on almost any street. I love sushi. My second favorite food in the world is Mexican food. I love Mexican food. I don't like really spicy Mexican food. I don't like it if it's too hot on my tongue, but I love the combination of cheese and beans and tortilla and salsa and cilantro and guacamole. Oh, it has to be one of my favorite foods. I used to make really good Mexican food, but now I'm a bit lazy. I tend to go out for Mexican food more than make it at home. My third favorite food is probably going to be a surprise to you. It is eggs. I love to eat eggs, any kind of eggs. Fried eggs, scrambled eggs, omelets, poached eggs, and hard-boiled eggs. I love eggs. I love eggs in any combination. I love egg casserole. I love egg salad sandwich. I love tortilla patata, which has egg in it. I just love anything to do with eggs. Why? I don't know. I've loved eggs my whole life. My fourth favorite food is salad. Any kind of fresh salad with lettuce, tomato, fresh vegetables, any combination of those, except for one thing. I don't like asparagus on my salad, and that's very popular here in Spain, to have white asparagus on your salad. I don't like asparagus very much, but I love salad, and I love mixing oil and vinegar and putting it on salad with a little bit of cheese on top. Oh, one of my favorite foods, especially in the summertime. My fifth favorite food is Italian tomato sauce. Now, I love Italian food, but I especially love Italian tomato sauce. I love the combination of tomatoes that have been cooked over a long period of time with Italian spices, with oregano, with rosemary, with marjoram, with thyme. I love the combination of the acidity of the tomato and the spice of the Italian spices. I love Italian tomato sauce. It's really good on French fries, by the way. My sixth favorite food is also a surprise, sauerkraut. Now in Spanish, the word for cabbage is col, but sauerkraut is a German type of cabbage. You've probably had it. The col is shredded and it's pickled, so it has kind of a tart, sour taste, but I love sauerkraut. I love it by itself with a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top. It's delicious, really, really good. My next favorite food is lamb. Now, in Spain, you have some of the best lamb in the world. New Zealand also is known for its good lamb, but I love to eat lamb. I love cordero asado. I love lamb chops, chuletas. I love any kind of lamb. Lamb stew is also very good. That's a popular food in Ireland, lamb stew. Lamb is so delicious, as long as it's not too strong. I don't like lamb that's too strong, like mutton. That's way too strong for me. My next favorite food is probably one of my favorite foods because I'm Irish. All Irish people like potatoes, and I love potatoes. I'm no exception. I like any kind of potatoes except one. I don't like mashed potatoes. I don't know why. I just don't like mashed potatoes. I don't like the consistency. But I think my favorite potato dish is something called scalloped potatoes, where you cut the potatoes in slices and you layer them with a mixture of cream and melted cheese and you bake it in the oven. My mother makes wonderful scalloped potatoes. They're delicious. My second to last favorite food is a food that I discovered here in Spain, and that is tortilla patata. Fantastic. I like it in every way. I like it when it's wet. I like a drier tortilla patata. I like it with cheese, which I know is not correct, but I love tortilla patata with a little bit of cheese and tomato in it. I think it is one of my favorite Spanish foods. It is so wonderful, and it's hard to find in the United States, where I'm from. It's hard to find tortilla patata, much less good tortilla patata. My last food on my top 10 favorite food list are olives. I love olives, any kind of olive. Olives stuffed with anchovies, olives stuffed with blue cheese, black olives, green olives, any kind of olives, especially Italian Kalamata olives, the kind that you find on Italian pizza, those real almost purple colored olives. They're very salty, but they're delicious. I love olives. I don't think they have great nutritional value, but it doesn't matter. Their flavor is so incredible. They're one of my top 10 favorite foods. Hello and welcome to Kathleen's Top 10. Now for my top 10 favorite sweets. My favorite sweet treat of all is milk chocolate. I love milk chocolate. I think I'm probably a milk chocolate addict. The best milk chocolate, in my opinion, comes from Belgium. Belgian milk chocolate is one of the best, if not the best, in the world. I love it. My second favorite sweet is caramels. Now, in Spanish, when you use the word caramelo, I think that refers to just a piece of candy. But in American English, caramels are soft, chewy, kind of butterscotch flavored treats. They're delicious. They come in little cubes. I don't know what you call them in Spanish, but they're one of my favorite treats. They can be either chocolate or vanilla flavored, or a combination of both. My third favorite sweet is something that's probably unique to the United States, and that is similar to caramel, but it's called a Tootsie Roll. That's the brand name. Tootsie Roll. They're about this long, they're brown, and they're chewy. They're delicious. They're great. I've loved them ever since I was a little kid. My fourth favorite sweet is a cookie, any kind of cookie. I don't care if it's a sugar cookie, a coconut cookie, a chocolate cookie, a shortbread butter cookie, any kind of cookie. I love cookies. It's my favorite dessert after a meal, cookies. My fifth favorite treat is something that I first had when I was living in Chile, but I think it's actually from Argentina, and that is Dulce de Leche. Fantastic. I know that Spanish people know what Dulce de Leche is, but it's such a great treat. If you heat it up and pour it over ice cream, especially vanilla ice cream, oh, it's delicious. My sixth favorite food is something that I remember from childhood. I haven't had it very much in the recent past, and that's pumpkin pie. Pumpkin is a form of squash, and pumpkin pie is something that we typically have at Thanksgiving in November. It's wonderful to put cold whipped cream on hot pumpkin pie. It is so delicious. If you've never had it, I recommend that you get some immediately and taste it. I think you'll like it. My 7th favorite sweet is flan, Spanish-style flan. I really like the flan that you have here in Spain. In fact, it's the only dessert that I usually order if I'm offered dessert in a restaurant. If they don't have flan, I usually will skip dessert. But if they have flan on the menu, I usually will try it. I think it's delicious. I love the combination of milk and egg and brown sugar. It's fantastic. My 8th favorite sweet is actually what I would call a candy, a hard candy, and it comes from Denver, Colorado. It's called a Jolly Rancher. Like the Tootsie Roll, Jolly Rancher is a brand name. Jolly Ranchers are hard candies about this big around, and they come in flavors like apple, watermelon, sour cherry, lemon, strawberry. They're fantastic. They're really strong in flavor. They're sweet and they're kind of sour, a little bit sweet, but they have really, really strong flavors and they're fantastic. I've never seen them here in Spain, so I don't know if you'll ever be able to try them or not. My second to last favorite sweet is called a malt ball. In England, they call them Maltesers, and in the United States, we call them Whoppers. And you have them in Spain as well. I think you call them, what's the word in Spanish? I don't remember, but I know you have them. They're vanilla, they're either white or chocolate, vanilla or chocolate flavored, and they're covered with milk chocolate or white milk chocolate, and they have sort of a dry, milky center inside. They're fantastic. I love them. They're one of my favorite candies. My last favorite candy is something called a Gummi Bear, and I think they come from Germany. They're soft and sort of chewy, and they come in different flavors. They're different colors, like they're yellow, red, green, purple. I know you have them here, but I like the ones that are shaped like little bears, Gummi Bears. They're delicious. They're made with gelatin, I think. I think that's the substance that makes them chewy. But I love Gummi Bears. They're fun to eat, and they're sort of a comfort food. So those are my top 10 favorite sweets. Hi, and welcome to Kathleen's Top 10. Now for my favorite places, my top 10 favorite places on the planet. These are all places I've been to, by the way. My first favorite place is a city in the United States called San Francisco. In my opinion, it's one of the great cities of the world. It's beautiful. It's on the San Francisco Bay, and it's just a fascinating place to visit. I think everyone should go to San Francisco at least once in their life. My second favorite place in the world is the city of Rome in Italy. I love Rome. I love the fact that there are artifacts from the Roman era that coexist with a modern city. I think it's fascinating to walk along the streets of Rome and discover new Roman artifacts. Well, actually, they're not new, they're old. But you come around a corner and you'll see something you've never seen before. It's an amazing, amazing city. I love it. My third favorite place on the planet is the state of Colorado, which is in the western United States. It's where the Rocky Mountains are located, and I lived there for about 6 years. I spent a lot of my time backpacking in the mountains of Colorado. It's a great, great state. It's really, really cool. My fourth favorite place on the planet is Easter Island. It's 5 hours by airplane from the city of Santiago, Chile. And most people know Easter Island because of the moai, those large heads that guard the island. It's a fascinating place, and it's a place I always wanted to go to when I was a little kid. So when I was living in Chile, I finally took advantage of being within a 5-hour flight, and I went to Easter Island, and I had a great time. It's really interesting. My fifth favorite place on the planet is also in South America, and that is Macchu Pichu, the Incan city that you have to get to by train or bus. The easiest way to get to Macchu Pichu is to fly to Cusco in Peru and take the train up to the site. It's a really interesting trip. It's worth the effort. It's a difficult journey because the altitude's very high and it can be very hot in the summer, but I definitely recommend it. It's worth it to see Macchu Picchu. Number 6 on my list is also a state in the United States. It's the state of Alaska. It's fantastic. It's so enormous. You can't imagine how big Alaska is. Everything is bigger than life. Even the fruit and vegetables are bigger than life in Alaska because Alaska has more sunlight than any other state in the United States. It has more hours of sunlight in the summertime, so the fruit and vegetables get to be enormous in size. Number 7 is also a place in Colorado. It's a place called Conundrum Hot Springs. And to get to Conundrum Hot Springs, you have to hike 8 miles or 9 miles up on a trail that is close to the city of Aspen in Colorado. And when you get to the top, when you get to the end of the 9-mile trail, there are these 3 hot springs that have been there for hundreds of years. And they come up from the ground in natural pools, and you can soak in them. They're fantastic. It's wonderful to sit in the hot springs and look out in the mountains, the mountain view that's in front of you. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience. Number 8 on my list is the island of Kauai, which is in the state of Hawaii. Hawaii is a state comprised of islands. Kauai is the westernmost and northernmost island in the Hawaiian island chain. It's called the Garden Isle, and it's the best island to visit. If you ever go to Hawaii, don't miss Kauai. It's so green and lush and beautiful, and it's also not very populated. You won't experience the huge crowds of tourists in Kauai like you will in Honolulu, which is on the island of Oahu, by the way. Number 9 of my favorite places is the city of Pompeii, the city that was covered by the volcano Vesuvius, covered by the ashes from Vesuvius when it erupted thousands of years ago. It's a fascinating journey to go through the streets of Pompeii because you feel like you're going back in time. You're revisiting the way people might have lived thousands of years ago. It's really, really interesting. And that brings me to my last and 10th favorite place, which is very close to Pompeii, the city of Herculaneum, which in Italian is known as Ercolano. Herculaneum was also covered by the same eruption of Vesuvius at the same time, but it was preserved a little bit better. For what reason, I can't remember, but when you go to Herculaneum, you can actually see 2 stories, 2 levels of homes, because the volcano actually created mudslides. That's it. It created mudslides, and the mudslides protected the 2nd story of the building. So when you go there, you can actually see 2-story buildings. It's fascinating. It's well worth the journey to go to Pompeii and Herculaneum if you ever go to Italy. Those are my top 10 favorite places. Hello, welcome to Kathleen's Top 10. Now for my top 10 favorite comforts, my favorite things that give me pleasure. Number 1 on the list is without a doubt chocolate, milk chocolate specifically. It gives me great pleasure to eat milk chocolate. I love it. Number 2 are massages. I love getting a good massage. I haven't had one in a long time, but I think it's one of the greatest physical pleasures you can have, to have a really good hour-long massage. There's nothing like it. Number 3 is also a physical pleasure, and that's to take a hot bath. I love to take a hot bath at the end of a long day. There's nothing more comfortable for me than to sit in a bathtub of hot water for 20 or 30 minutes and drink a glass of wine. It's one of my favorite comforts in life. Number 4 is something to eat, Mexican food. For some reason, eating Mexican food gives me great comfort and great pleasure. Now, even though sometimes it's a little too spicy, which isn't very comfortable, I still enjoy the experience of eating Mexican food. I love it. Number 5 is to have time alone. I really like to have time alone every day. I like to have my solitude. I'm a very talkative and outgoing person, but because of that, I also need to balance it with time alone. I love having a couple hours by myself, doing whatever I want to do, not working, not talking to other people, not entertaining people, not watching television, just spending time alone, being quiet. Number 6 of my top 10 favorite comforts is definitely affection. I think affection is a great comfort for all people. Some people like affection more than others. I'm one of them. I love to have a hug or a kiss or a cuddle or to have somebody touch me. There's something really nice about affection that you receive from other people. It's also nice to give affection. That's also very satisfying. Number 7 of my top 10 comforts is humor. I love good humor. I love having other people make me laugh. It's so comforting to be in the presence of somebody who's truly funny, who can make you laugh even when you don't feel like laughing. Number 8 would be silence. I love silence. Now, one of the reasons I love silence so much is because I live in Madrid, which is a very noisy city. So I love to go out into the mountains around Madrid and to experience silence where my ears don't hear the ambient noise that's going on all the time in the city of Madrid. Number 9 on my list is music. I love all kinds of music. I love classical music, jazz. I even like hip hop and rap. I also am a musical person, so I like to sing and play the piano. That gives me great comfort. I really, really enjoy music. I don't know what life would be without music. The last thing on my list, which is going to surprise you a little bit, but when I was thinking about my top 10 favorite comforts, I was thinking about cream. I love good face cream. I love putting good high quality face cream on my face at night before I go to bed. I don't know why that gives me such comfort, but it does. It just makes my face feel good. So those are my top 10 favorite comforts in life. Hello and welcome to Kathleen's Top 10. These are my top 10 favorite sports or outdoor activities. My top 10 favorite outdoor activity is backpacking. I love to go backpacking in the mountains for 3 or 4 days at a time. I love the idea of taking everything I need, putting it in a backpack, putting it on my back, and going into the mountains by myself for several days. It's a great pleasure in life. Number 2 is something that I don't do anymore, but I still love it. I love running, but not running on streets. I like running on trails. I like running on either mountain trails or trails out in the country. I love the feeling of running on the earth as opposed to running on pavement. It's much, much better for your legs. And I also like being closer to nature when I'm running. It's a great pleasure. My third favorite outdoor activity is horseback riding. I spent many, many years of my life riding horses. I don't anymore because I have a sore back, but I really enjoy horseback riding and I try to go once or twice a year. It's a great pleasure whether you know how to ride horses or not. You can still enjoy the activity of horseback riding. Number 4 is something that I used to do a lot when I lived in San Francisco, where this sport was born: mountain biking. I loved to go mountain biking on the mountains or the hills around the area that I lived in San Francisco. It's so much fun. It's a great sport. You should try it. I know it's popular here in Spain. Number 5 of my top 10 favorite things to do is to go snow skiing. I haven't been snow skiing in many years, but when I lived in Colorado, I went snow skiing almost every weekend. It's so much fun. The only problem with snow skiing now is that it tends to be expensive. I think lift tickets, the tickets to go on the chairlift on the mountain, are almost $60 now anywhere you go in the United States. It's an expensive sport, but it's really fun. Number 6 is something that I also used to do a lot, and that is windsurfing. Windsurfing is a popular sport all over the world. When I was windsurfing on lakes. I was afraid to go windsurfing on the ocean. But windsurfing is a lot of fun. The only problem is you have to know a little bit about sailing to be a good windsurfer, and I didn't know anything about sailing. But it's great fun. It's good exercise too. My 7th favorite sport is a winter sport: ice skating. Now, I like to watch ice skating now more than to actually ice skate, but when I was a kid, I loved ice skating on the frozen lakes and ponds in Kansas where I grew up. It was great fun. Now I enjoy watching other people ice skate because it's something that is difficult that they make look so easy and so beautiful. It's a really cool sport. Number 8 of my favorite things to do is body surfing. Because I can't surf standing up, I have to surf with what we call a body surfing board, which is something you lay on. You put your chest on it and you can go in the ocean. It's a little bit easier than surfing, and it's a lot of fun. You should try it. Number 9 of my favorite activities is actually a sport, and that's the sport of golfing. I don't golf anymore, but I used to golf a lot. I think golfing is a very challenging sport, but it can be very relaxing if you don't get frustrated. The worst thing to do when you're golfing is to allow yourself to get frustrated, because then you won't be able to golf well. The last of my favorite things to do in the outdoors is fishing. I love to fish. I used to go fishing with my dad all the time when I was a kid, but I still enjoy fishing. My favorite fishing trip in the recent past was in Alaska, where I went fishing on a river and I caught a 38-pound salmon. It was really hard to get the salmon into the boat, but it was great fun. It's a very interesting sport. It's relaxing and it's entertaining at the same time. So you should try to go fishing sometime if you've never been. Those are my top 10 favorite outdoor activities. Hello, and welcome to Kathleen's Top 10. Now, for my top 10 favorite things that begin with the letter S. Number 1 on the list is singing. I love to sing, and I love to hear other people sing as well. It's wonderful to hear a beautiful voice singing a song. Number 2 on the list is the city of San Francisco in California. It's a city I lived in for almost 12 years, and I think it's one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Number 3 is salty food. I love salty food. I like sweet food, but I love salty food. I love a lot of salt on popcorn. I love potato chips. I like to put salt on my eggs. I love anything salty. Number 4 is something that I do around my house: sweeping. I love to use a broom and a dustpan and sweep the wooden floor in my house so that when I walk around with my bare feet, I don't get dirt on the bottom of my feet. So I love to sweep. Number 5 of my top 10 favorite things, beginning with S, are sunny days. I love the sun and I love beautiful sunny days. I love spending time in the sun. I like the sun much more than the rain. Number 6 is also a place in California, and that is Sonoma Valley, California. It's next to the Napa Valley, and it's one of the famous winemaking regions in California. Actually, it's one of the famous winemaking regions in the United States. Sonoma Valley is more fun than Napa Valley because it's more relaxed. The wineries aren't quite as glorious and grand. They're smaller and more friendly. And so I love going to Sonoma Valley when I visit California. It's a great place. Number 7 is the seashore. I love being by the sea anywhere on the planet. I love the seashore in Oregon. I love it in California. I love it in Spain, in Portugal. I love being close to the ocean. I like walking along the seashore in my bare feet. Number 8 is a composer that begins with the letter S, and that is Schubert, Franz Schubert. Wonderful composer. He composed some of the most beautiful symphonies and short piano pieces of all of the composers. If you aren't familiar with Franz Schubert, you should listen to some Schubert today. Number 9, and second to last, is a food, salmon, salmon. I love salmon. I love poached salmon, grilled salmon, salmon burgers, raw salmon. I like salmon in any way, shape, or form. It's the only fish that I really, really love. I love salmon. It's very good for you too, by the way. Number 10, and last on the list, also has fish in it, but that is sushi. I love Japanese sushi. I especially like something called a California roll, which has avocado in it. I think it has avocado and tuna and carrot and cucumber rolled up in rice and seaweed and eaten with soy sauce and wasabi and fresh ginger. It's one of my favorite things, beginning with the letter S. Hello, and welcome to Kathleen's Top 10. Now I'm going to talk about the top 10 things I hate, beginning with the letter S. The first thing that I hate that begins with S is superstition. Superstition seems like a waste of time to me. It's not based on fact or reality, and it's sort of ridiculous. Why should people be superstitious about life or broken mirrors or walking under ladders? It seems really, really silly. Number 2 of the things I hate are snakes. Now, I know that snakes are a benefit to the animal kingdom, and I know they have a place in nature, but I'm afraid of snakes, and so I don't like snakes very much. I don't even like looking at pictures, at photographs of snakes. Number 3 is something that I hate from my childhood: spinach. Creamed spinach, to be exact. My mother used to like to make creamed spinach, to cook spinach in a pan and add cream to it. The smell made me nauseated, and even today, when I smell spinach cooking, it makes me feel very sick. I hate spinach. Number 4 is something that most women like to do, but I don't. I don't like to go shopping. I hate shopping. I would love to have someone come to my house with all of the clothes that I need in the right size, the right color, the right shape for my body, the right style. I wouldn't ever have to go shopping. It would be wonderful to have a personal shopper, wouldn't it? Number 5 is something that I've never liked, and it's something I've had to get used to here in Spain: slow walking. People in Spain walk slower. They enjoy walking. I walk to get from point A to point B. So I don't like to walk slowly, but people in Spain enjoy walking slowly. They enjoy slow walking, something I hate. Number 6 is something that I'm afraid of, and so I also hate it. I hate shots. Shots are injections that you get when you go to the doctor. I hate getting shots in my bum. It is scary to see a nurse or a doctor approaching you with a needle that is that long and just a little bit too wide for your comfort. I have always hated shots ever since I was a kid. I also don't like scars. I have a lot of scars on my hands from when I was a kid. I had a skin problem, and I ended up with a lot of scars. I think scars are kind of unattractive. Some cultures think that scars are a form of beauty, but for me, I don't agree. I don't like scars at all, and I wish I didn't have any. Number 8 is something that I hate because I got sick on it once, and that is schnapps. Now, I don't know where the alcohol schnapps comes from, probably from Germany or somewhere, maybe Poland or Russia. But I got so sick on schnapps once that I can't even stand the smell of schnapps. Yuck. Number 9, sickness. I hate being sick. I'm so impatient when I'm sick. I don't mind being around other people who are sick, but I hate being sick myself. I hate the feeling of not being able to do what I want to do. Being sick is terrible. It's a real disappointment when you find out you're sick. The last thing on my list of things I hate beginning with the letter S is a surprise, because I always talk about how much I love dogs, but there's one breed of dog I don't like. I hate Shar-Pei dogs. I don't know why. There's nothing wrong with the dog itself. I just don't like the way they look. They're those dogs that have wrinkly faces, and they have these big folds of skin on their faces. For some reason, I have never liked those dogs, and so they made it into the 10th position on my top 10 list of things I hate beginning with the letter S. Hello and welcome to Kathleen's Top 10. Now for the top 10 things that I fear, the top 10 things that I'm afraid of in life. Number 1, I'm afraid of having no money. I'm afraid of being broke. Why? Because having no money to me means having no freedom. That's the only thing money is good for, in my opinion, is freedom. I'm afraid of having no money. Number 2, I'm afraid of amputation. I'm afraid of losing one of my limbs, one of my body parts, my finger, my arm, my legs. I've always been afraid of amputation. Number 3 is a fear that many people have. I'm afraid of becoming paralyzed, especially paralyzed from the neck down, having no feeling in any of my body. I can't imagine living like that. I'm terrified of paralysis. Number 4 is also something that many people are afraid of, and that is mathematics. I'm afraid of algebra, trigonometry, geometry, anything to do with numbers, graphs, any type of analytical thought terrifies me. I'm afraid of mathematics. The next thing that I'm afraid of are intellectuals. I don't know why I'm afraid of intellectuals, because there's nothing to be afraid of when you meet somebody who's intelligent. I'm mostly afraid of people who say they're intellectuals. These people are not people I want to spend time with. I'm afraid of them. I never know what kind of questions they're going to ask me. I never know what they're going to say. I don't know how to respond to them. I guess I don't feel like I'm smart enough to have a conversation with somebody who considers themselves to be an intellectual. The next thing I'm afraid of is cold weather. I've always been afraid of the cold. I'm not afraid of the hot. I'm not afraid of extreme heat, but I'm very, very afraid of being out in the cold without enough clothing on. The next thing is a bit unexpected, but it's true. I am afraid of children. I don't have any children. I never wanted any children, and I'm afraid of children. I don't know how to react to children. I don't know how to be around children. I'm afraid of my friends' children. I know it's irrational, but I am definitely afraid of kids. Next on the list is hangovers. I'm afraid of drinking too much and having a hangover the next morning. So the good thing is that when I go out drinking with my friends, I always have this in the back of my mind, the thought that I might get a hangover if I'm not careful. I'm terrified of hangovers. They feel awful. Second to last thing on the list is the pit bull, which is a dog. I'm afraid of pit bulls. You've probably seen them. They're the dogs that they use for fighting. These dogs, if you've ever been around one, can be very, very scary. Now, there are a lot of pit bulls that are very sweet, but if you've ever been around one that is aggressive and mean, I guarantee that you too will be afraid of them. They are ferocious and animals to be feared for sure. The last thing on my list is also something that's violent, but it's not a dog. Violent people. I'm afraid of even seeing people that are violent. Now, I've been fortunate in my life, and I've never known anybody who is violent, but I have seen people who are violent in the streets or people in society, and I think that they are definitely people to be feared. So those are the top 10 things that I fear the most in life.